Hey guys, welcome to this very special episode of Dude, I Love My Car. And next to me is Nate Courier, who brought in his lifted Subaru Forester XT. So there's a lot going on in that car.
There is. I'll try to get to most of it.
And we'll do a walk around of Nate's Subaru. But before we get to that, let's talk about the fact that you're wearing a Subaru Ambassador shirt. What is a Subaru Ambassador?
Basically, I like to call myself a marketing rep for Subaru. So I just go around, share the love, give people some treats. Subaru gives me a couple of bucks every couple of months to kind of hand out bags and pens and water bottles and just, thank people for being part of the family.
Now, Nate, you seem, we were talking before, and you seem to really love not just the brand, not just the car, but the lifestyle. So tell me, what drew you to being ambassador to the Subaru kind of, the entire enchilada of Subaru-ness?
Absolutely. So, like most of you guys out there, the Subaru commercials sometimes make you cry, right? With the dogs and the kids and families. It's just a super safe vehicle. This particular one is quick when you want it to be, economical when you want it to be. Just what Subaru stands for is family and pets and safety and camaraderie, and there's so many Subaru groups out there, and it's really cool to be part of one. I'm part of an off-roading one, which is Off-Roading Subarus of Colorado, great group. So it's that vibe of Subaru. It's just really chill.
All right, so let's start with the easy questions. How did you get into cars?
I can't remember, to be honest. I grew up in northern Maine. I'm the only one in my family that's addicted to cars, and I've probably had 50, 55 since I've been 18.
Wow.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's
What was your first car?
It's a terrible one. It's an 89 Plymouth Sundance. So
You're right, it is a terrible one.
But I did learn to drive on my mom's 77 Volkswagen Rabbit.
Nice.
Yeah, it had 17,000 original miles on it, and I put a couple of the old school dictionaries and sat on there and went right through the gears down our street. Our neighbors didn't like it, but it was a lot of fun.
So you've got quite the car habit. 50 cars is a lot of cars. Yeah. So give me the ones that were the most memorable. First, for being great, and secondly, for being crappy. So what were the great ones?
My first one that was my favorite, I think, was my first brand new car. It was a 2008 Volkswagen Passat. Yeah. And I think it was Tornado Red, if I'm pronouncing it right. Just a fun car. It had a lot of problems, unfortunately. But my second most favorite would be my 2014 Ford Mustang. It was Grabber Blue.
Yeah, Grabber Blue.
Yeah, just the Pony Package V6, but it was still a lot of fun. And then this would actually be...
Up there?
Yeah, it's perfect. It's lifted now, it's a little bit more rugged, yeah.
And how about the ones that were like, oh my god, why did I buy that?
Well, that would be probably my first car.
Yeah, of course, the Sundance, yeah.
My second car, which would be a 96 Ford Escort, not even the GT.
All right.
Yeah. If I had to pick a worst one, I had a 1982 Chrysler LeBaron convertible Mark Cross edition.
Did it have the Cordoba leather?
It did. It was terrible. I had it for all of 2 months. Yeah, it was, my husband calls it the paperweight. He's like, I remember when you got the paperweight.
One of my worst cars, I used to work at a TV station in Rockford. I was a reporter, and they had the K cars, right?
Yes.
Which actually brought Chrysler back from the brink. Hard to believe that Iacocca built a company on those. Yeah. And they were built in Belvedere, which was right by Rockford. And I had this Aries K station wagon. It had this like red velour interior, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was horrible. The only good thing about it was it had Action News on it, which was our news station, which allowed me to park it wherever I wanted it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, free parking pass.
Yeah. But the rest of the car was just a station wagon with the velour, with like the crappy little plastic. Remember like the little like fake wood and like the really crappy little like Cartier like fake controls, right? They were trying to be like really glitzy, but they were just awful.
I tried to block all that out though.
Yeah. So how long have you had the Forester?
18 months.
Okay.
Yep. I bought it from Shortline Subaru. It's where I bought all my cars. That's where I get everything installed. In fact, it's a lease.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you lifted it.
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
that's a little dicey.
It is, but that's all right. I'm going to buy it at the end of the lease.
Okay.
This is going to be.
You're going to have to buy it at the end of the lease.
I know. It's going to be my first car, honest to goodness, that I've kept this long.
One of the reasons we do this show is because we want to kind of know the experience people have had with cars. We only get cars to test and trucks for a week. And so, gosh, every day we get a boatload of questions. I want this car or this truck. How reliable is it? And the answer, unfortunately, is we don't know because we don't spend a lot of time with them. But that's why we want to do the show. Yeah. 16 months. So have you had any issues? And if so, what?
I've had one issue. It was taken care of, and it hasn't come back. The transmission pan gasket, right around there was a little leak. So it was just replaced, resealed, good to go.
Does the 2016 and how many miles?
14,800.
Now, one of the reasons that I wanted you on the show specifically was obviously we don't get Subarus because of our little falling out about our Outback adventure.
Yeah.
But, it's a shame because obviously this is a huge Subaru territory. And Colorado, in fact, is the second most popular place for Subarus after Vermont.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. But what really excited me about your car was that you lifted it. And it's super hard to lift a car with independent suspension. And we'll show you what happens, but this is basically, I got a little prop here. Mm-hmm. So tell them what this is. You must know what this is.
Basically, it's a strut top spacer. You drop your strut and you put that on top of it and bolt it up, and that gives you, well, this is a 2-inch, but mine's a 1-inch. So it gives you that amount of extra space between the wheel well and the top of the wheel. Yeah,
unlike, let's say, a pickup truck or even a Jeep that has a solid axle, where you could put a spacer and then lift the body basically higher, a body lift.
Right.
You're doing that with a bigger rubber bushing in effect.
Right.
Which is fine, but you can only go so high with these.
Correct, yeah. Especially with the Subaru, because the CV axles, they start to, I want to say, get finicky anywhere above 2 inches. So I wanted to kind of play it safe and just do the 1-inch. And I got a little bit oversized tires. So it's about almost 2 inches between the tires and the lift.
Well, let's go show them the car. Ian, you got the camera? Let's go show them the car. So let's start with the front and kind of talk about what you did. You got a kind of a grill guard here.
Yes.
Come on closer so people can hear you.
It's just a rally style bar.
Yeah.
And then I added the hella lights. I'm kind of old school.
And what does the license plate stand for?
Subaru and Nate. Subi Nate.
Subi Nate. So that's your name. That's cool. Was
that
hard to get?
It actually was not.
Okay.
That was my first choice.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
And let's talk about the tires, because this is what I think makes this Forester look really cool. And that is you put BFGs on it.
I did.
And I was worried when I saw those because, 1-inch lift doesn't give you a lot of clearance.
It does not.
And so do you ever run into having it hit the bodywork?
Let's just say I have modified the plastic fender well a little bit.
Yeah.
And we've sort of had to flatten the pinch weld in the rear, and it still rubs a little bit.
Why don't you show me and give them the kind of a...
So, I don't know if you guys can see down here, but there's a pinch weld right behind the plastic fender.
Hold on, we'll get there. We just gotta... There you go, he's got it. We just have to get down there.
See right back here.
Yeah.
And it kind of rubs just a little bit, but only when I cut real hard.
So, one of our viewers is saying that the lift combo looks absolutely amazing. So congratulations.
I think so too, so thank you.
Were those the stock wheels?
No, these are...
I don't think so, yeah.
Nope, these are 17 Crosstrek wheels. Kind of brand loyal, so if Subaru made a tire, then I would have had Subaru tires. But yeah, these are Crosstrek wheels, and I just bought them, again, from Shortline's parts department. But my stock wheels are amazing, and I'll never sell them. They're my favorite. It's one of the reasons why I bought this particular one. I already upgraded those tires as well. Those are Pirelli Scorpion
now,
on those.
An interesting thing that happens, obviously, with lifted Subarus, especially with BFGs, is that they get loud. Right? When you have a Jeep or you have a pickup, it's already loud.
You're right.
But when you have a Subaru, right, they work really hard on getting the noise, harshness, and vibration out of it. Mm-hmm. And when you put tires like this on it, it makes it loud. So have you noticed that it's louder on the highway or, just driving down the road?
Helicopter effect.
Helicopter effect, okay.
So there's quite the whir, but to me it's totally worth it.
Did you do anything to the engine?
The engine is completely stock.
Well, sure, because this is the XT.
Yep. Completely stock except for an aftermarket panel filter.
Okay, hold on, let's wait. So I can figure out where you're. It's easy. All right, so what's cool about the Forester XT, of course, is not only that it has the classic Subaru Boxster engine, right?
Right.
But what's this engine out of?
It is out of the WRX, including the transmission as well.
So basically, you're getting a WRX drivetrain with a Forester, which means that you get a lot more room, you get a lot more usability. It's a much bigger vehicle, and it's a much faster vehicle.
It totally makes me. I'm smiling right now just because it's just perfect.
Now the first generation of the XT had the big monster hood scoop.
It did.
Remember it right on top?
Yes.
And what they did here, you can see it right here, is it still has an air intake, but the air intake comes in right here.
It does.
And then goes into the, I think that's an intercooler on top.
It is.
Yeah.
Dirty intercooler.
Dirty intercooler, but you no longer have that cool hood scoop.
No. And I've done some research, and you can find one or two of them across the seas.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I want to invest in that.
You know, let me show you this. This is I had an old Subaru wagon before the Outback, and it was a generation where the tire was on top of the engine.
Those are awesome.
Those are awesome. Not a good idea to put a tire on top of the engine because it does dry rot it very quickly because all that heat comes up, right? But it had the same thing, which I always love about Subaru, is the fact that your engine oil filter is right on top, easily accessible. So if you want to do an oil change, it's right there.
It's phenomenally easy.
It's phenomenally. How about power-wise? Does it have enough power for you?
Yes, absolutely, and especially up here and in the mountains, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. You know, like I said before, it's great for economy when you keep your foot out of the turbo, and then when you want to get in it, it's quick. It's quick. It's not as quick with these big knobby tires on it, but in the mountains, I have no problem passing people.
Yeah, and of course, when you put bigger wheels and tires on it, you also start messing with your speedometer. There's a lot of things that get unfactoried.
Right.
So, what else have you done to it?
I had Shortline Subaru put a factory remote start on it.
Yep.
This particular model is the premium, so it does not come with fog lights. I had them add fog lights OEM style. This particular...
Hold on, we won't hear him. Let's move over here so we're not shooting into the light.
Okay.
Yeah. So what else? So you had fog lights, and of course you have the Hellas, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And the rally bar.
Yeah.
This is a 2017 Grille instead of the 2016.
Oh, cool.
They changed it. Yep. Yeah. Underneath, if you can get down here, I've added a front, mid, and rear skid plate from Primitive Racing.
Oh, so that's nice. Yeah. So it's much more protected and much more, in a way, off-road worthy.
Absolutely. Yep. And I definitely take it off-road.
Yeah. Anything else we should talk about before we go and talk about your adventures off-road?
No.
All right. Let's have a seat. Ian.
Okay.
We'll come back and we'll kind of talk about your experience and how it's been off-road.
Absolutely.
Hold on here. So this
goodies.
Yeah, goodies. I got some goodies for you for the end. But let's talk about your experience off-roading. So how of a difficult trait have you taken it on?
I'm sort of a newbie, so I mean, my favorite thing is mud and puddles.
Yeah.
I could show you a picture where it was completely covered inside and out. I was an idiot and forgot to close the moonroof and the windows. Yeah, and it all came in. It got the dogs wet, us wet. Yeah, it was awesome though. There was this one particular trail up Rainbow Road, and for me it was very difficult because since I have a CVT transmission, there's no traditional gears in that. So, and there's no low range, there's no actual first gear you can leave it in. So when I was trying to rock crawl, if I needed to sort of butt up against a rock and get sort of roll over it, there were a couple of rocks where I had to back up and kind of go around because it wouldn't make it up. But I think for the most part, 98% of the time, it's awesome off-road.
Yeah, I can't begin to express how, in a way, difficult it is to actually do what you've done to a Subaru. Because if you have a Jeep, let's say a Wrangler, there is an entire world of aftermarket accessories. Lifting it is, like falling out of a bed, right? Same thing to a large extent with a Toyota 4Runner.
Yes.
A lot of the trucks, same thing, even though they're like the Toyotas are independent suspension, but the parts are out there. With the Subaru, not so much. So you probably have to do a lot of digging, a lot of online looking to kind of find out how people have done this. I've seen a few videos of lifted Subarus, but they're not that common.
They're not common. They're common in our group.
Yeah.
As I'm part of an off-road group. However, you're right. It does take a lot of research. There's only a few companies out there. Luckily, there's a few here, like Sumo Parts. I've ordered stuff from Primitive Racing, which is in Oregon. But yeah, it takes a lot of work.
Now, of course, this is probably a good time for us to talk about why that is to some extent. The reason we don't get Subarus is we took an Outback off-road, and basically we were on what was at that time Cliffhanger 1.0. We've now moved on to a harder Cliffhanger, but it was this rutted out, very loose hill,
Yeah.
and Nathan took it up there and the wheels started spinning, and the car's traction control system detected that there was wheel spin, sent power to the wheels that had traction, which was none.
Right.
And so in order to protect the CVT, the car just shut down power. Right, so you floor it, but there was no power going to the wheels, and
Right.
Unfortunately, Subaru wasn't happy with us showing that. But that's the reason we haven't tested a Subaru. So I was super thrilled that you brought it in because, you know, I love Subarus. I think they're terrific vehicles, and it just aggravates my mind that here in Colorado, their second biggest marketplace, we can't review them. So when you emailed me and you said, I want to be on, I was really excited.
That's great, and I'm glad you have me here.
Yeah.
Prior to sitting here, we were talking out in the lobby, and you had told me the story, and it kind of broke my heart just because of how much I love Subaru and support Subaru and am Subaru. And here in Colorado, that's what kind of all Subaru people are. You know, we are all about Subaru, and it does bum me out that Subaru took that avenue with you guys.
All right, now, what's your favorite part of your Forester?
You know, now that I have it almost all done,
Yeah.
the comments I get on it, people are surprised that they're like, that's a Subaru? That's a Forester? Even non-car people. I was parking the other day somewhere downtown, and of course, when I was cutting the wheel, it rubbed, and so a couple people looked. They might have thought I hit the wall or a car, but then when I got out and I explained, they were like, that's a really nice Forester. And it's just custom enough to where it gets the right attention.
Yeah.
So it's my favorite.
Yeah, and I take it you've had it long enough to have it through a Colorado winter. So how does it do in the snow?
Oh,
Doesn't even-
no.
yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Well, I had to
Eat
ask. He's
snow
got-
for dinner.
Yeah. And when you go on these Subaru trips with the Colorado Subaru Club, what's kind of the best part of these trips?
To be honest, it's the first for me again is the mud and water. If I can find some, I'm like the happiest camper.
You need to
in
go
the
to
world.
like, you know, Nashville. They have a lot of that mud bogging down there, you guys. Up here we have a lot of rock crawling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's the camaraderie. It's the people behind the product that they're driving. I mean, that's what we are. I mean, I could have, you know, what your son has, a Wrangler, and just throw a really nice lift on it and have a really good Jeep.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm loyal to Subaru.
Have you taken it to places like Moab yet?
No, we haven't.
Oh, you got
No.
to.
I know. I'm a little nervous about that, but we are hitting Bryce and Zion next week, so I'm going to try to find some killer trails.
If I could recommend a trail to you and to you, the most beautiful trail I've ever been on, which is actually a real road. So you have to have a plate. You can't not like you just have a lifted vehicle. It's called the White Rim Trail.
Okay.
And it's in Moab. And in Moab, there are actually a whole bunch of different parks. There's
Okay.
Arches.
Yep.
There's Dead Horse, and there's one called Island in the Sky.
Okay.
And it's the confluence of the Colorado and the Green Rivers. So over the eons, the two rivers have literally carved out an island in the sky.
Wow.
And Moab is, of course, an old uranium mining town. And the White Rim Trail is a road that they use to try to find uranium. And it starts at the top of Island in the Sky. So you start on top, and it's got these Switzerland-like, it's a dirt road. So
Okay.
don't get freaked out, it's a dirt road. There's one part that's a little technical, but that thing would eat it for, right?
Okay.
It's 120 miles. It's a long road.
Okay.
So it starts at the top, and it's got these incredible Switzerland like zigzags, right, where you go down to the valley. And then you're going through these beautiful arches, you know, the red scenery is everywhere, and you just kiss the Colorado River. You go around, and then you get into some like really fun sand, right? This kind of washy, sandy stuff like you have in Arizona that you can go flying through.
That's awesome.
I've done it on a motorcycle. It's scary as heck because you're on 2 wheels. But in a car, it's really fun. And then you kiss the Green River.
Okay.
And then you come back up on these zigzags back to the top. It's by far the most beautiful road in the world that I've ever driven on. And I would highly recommend it. It's something that thing would be perfect for.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people who go to Moab are afraid that you're going to be doing like Hell's Revenge, right?
Right.
And the escalator, which is like this, you know, this
Yes.
this V of a cliff that you can do driving up. But
Yeah.
but even things like fins and things, you could probably do with that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different levels of trails, and it is kind of the paradise of off-roading. So if you ever have a chance to do that, do that. What are your plans for your Forester? Where do you go from here? Anything else you can do to it?
Well, if you're going to go out to Moab, I'll follow you out there.
All
You
right.
can take the Outback, I'll take that.
You know what? If you want to come with us, we're probably going to head out there. We're going to be doing a pickup comparison. We're going into our gold hitch testing. So in October, we might be going out there with 4 pickups. And if you want to come and tag along, we'd love to probably have you. And that's only available to you because you're in Colorado. We usually don't like to have other people at our shoots. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. In terms of your ambassadorships, what does that actually mean?
It just means that I stand behind something that I love and support.
Yeah.
You know, it's very important to me.
You give out swag.
I do. I give out swag. So
If you see him. You want Subaru swag.
Right. So, like I said, Subaru gives me a couple bucks every quarter of the year, and buy a couple things for me. And most of the stuff I put in bags, whether it be anything like sunglasses or actual those reusable shopping bags, water bottles, coffee cups, sweaters, sweatshirts, whatever. And I just hand it out to people if I'm getting gas at the gas station. There was a gentleman that I pulled in front of who had a red, I believe 2004 Forester. And it looked like it was in incredible shape, an older gentleman. And it just makes me feel really good to pop my trunk and have a trunk full of stuff, and I don't today, so don't tell anybody. And just give him a bag full of stuff and just ask him how it's running and what memories he has in it, all of course while we're pumping gas. And then, yeah, it's just awesome. I love doing that, sharing the love.
All right, and if people want to look up the group you're part of, is there a website they can go to?
I want you to check out Facebook. It's OSCO, Off-Roading Subarus of Colorado.
OSCO. So what we can do is when this video goes to YouTube, when it's not live, we'll put a link to it in the description. So just go down to the description, click it, and if you guys are here in Colorado and you want to be part of an off-road community that, loves Subarus, that's a great place to do it.
Yep.
And speaking of swag, we always like to give a thank you swag. So I'm going to give you a bunch of choices here. Andre just got back from a Chevy trip. No, actually, it was a Chevy trip where they had a Polaris. So we have a Polaris.
Done.
You want it?
Yep.
Okay. Right.
Yep. I grew up in northern Maine. I rode Polaris snowmobiles for my whole childhood. So.
All right, well, we've got a lot more hats to give out then. And you brought us a gift, right?
I did, yes. So since I'm a Subaru,
nice.
Since I'm an ambassador, once in a great while, Subaru sends me swag that's extra special. So this particular item is a lunchbox, and it's
Subaru lunchbox. Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. It was for their educational thing. Obviously school just started, so.
Look at that!
I know, we got some chalk, you don't see that anymore, and some markers, and then this is my favorite part. This coloring book actually has vehicles in it that you can color. So like the Forester's in here, the Outback's in here, the Crosstrek's in here.
We usually don't like to keep swag because we feel like that's it, manufacturers trying to buy a review. But I will take this. And if it's all right with you, I will give it to Andre.
Absolutely.
Who has a little boy.
Oh. Okay.
Who drives around in an Outback because they have an Outback.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm sure he'll be thrilled by this. So Andre, this one's for you, dude.
Awesome.
You get to keep this one.
Very cool.
Well, Nate, thank you very much. Ian, were there any questions that you saw that people were asking that you want to pass on, or?
What's the MPG?
To be honest, and I can show you if you want, so you believe me, but right now I'm at 28.2, and that's over, that's over the last tank and a half.
Do you remember the horsepower on that engine? It's got to be over...
It's 250,
Yeah, I was gonna say
and I
250.
believe 268 foot-pounds torque,
Okay.
I think, yeah.
Anything else?
What model Forester is this?
Forester XT?
Forester
Yeah?
Turbo, yeah, XT.
Yeah.
And
Let's get one more and then we'll...
what's the power like with bigger tires?
You can tell the difference going from stock to those. It's
Maybe slower.
It's slower, but
more
it feels more
mass.
planted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more?
And does the Subaru have low range?
It does not. It does have X mode. X mode, which I don't think you used on your misadventure.
You opened up a can of worms there.
So it does have X mode. It's like a hill descent control. It helps send. It's like a torque vectoring, puts power to the wheels that slip type thing. So it does help. But it's funny you bring up, or I bring up the misadventure. The 14 XT that he reviewed several years ago is one of the reasons why I actually bought that. It's the same color, same everything, and he took it up. He went through.
I did.
Where were you at?
I was in Arizona. Yeah, we took up a pretty steep hill up in Arizona, and they actually Subaru had set up a kind of an off-road demonstration.
Yep.
Where they had rollers set up on a trailer, and you would go up it without X mode, and the car couldn't do it. Then you would engage X mode, and the car could do it. So. Most cars now, and Subaru's not the only one to be fair, have a stability and traction control system that does the best that it can to duplicate either a locking diff or a limited slip. And the way that it does that is, once upon a time, like Big Green, which I was just showing you out there, right? It would be, in essence, one-wheel drive. So you have to have a limited slip, because when you go around a curve, if you lock the diff, right, if both wheels are treated at the same rate, if you're going around a curve, this one's got to go farther than this one, and so the vehicle will start to crab.
Right.
So an old-school four-wheel drive basically was a two-wheel drive. So it would get one-wheel driving in the back and one-wheel driving in the front, and then the other wheel would just be free spinning. Now, you can have a limited slip, which allows that wheel to lock up when it detects that it's slipping.
Yep.
So, or you could just lock the differential, which allows both wheels to be locked up at the same time. That's, for off-roading is the best. But you can emulate that using sensors and brakes. And the way that the Subaru and a lot of other manufacturers do it, and it works. Basically, when the wheel starts to slip, it'll lock that wheel so that all the power isn't going to the spinning wheel, but instead it's going to the one that has grip.
Right.
So it detects which wheel has grip, it locks the wheel that doesn't have grip, or it stops it from spinning, and you're emulating either a limited slip, a torsion, or a full locking differential. And that's, in essence, what X mode does.
Yeah, it does work.
Yeah. The downside is, the difference between four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive is usually the fact that you have a transfer case, which transfers the engine's power into a lower gear. So let's say it's 20 revolutions to 1 revolution to 20. Right. That might be a typical way. And what that does not have is the ability to take 1 revolution and make it 50 revolutions, which a Jeep or a pickup truck would have. And that increases the torque and that increases the power. And usually the way that manufacturers like Subaru and even Jeep with the Renegade do is they'll lock it into what is considered first gear.
Right.
So I hope that was an explanation. It was a little long-winded, and I hope that confused you.
Sorry about that.
Did I confuse you?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I was going to bite my tongue, but we had to go there, so we went there.
I just wanted to poke fun at you because you almost slid off the mountain.
Yes. Well, Nate, it was a real pleasure having you here.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much for bringing your cool Forester XT. And guys, if you want to be on, dude, I love my car, my ride, my truck, send us an email to info@tflcar, or we're trying to do a new segment called Dude, I Hate My Ride. And if you have a vehicle that you hate or you had a terrible experience with, we want to get that out there as well. So same thing, info@tflcar. As always, this is Roman and Nate saying thanks for watching, and see you guys next time. Ciao.
See ya.